Halloween. Out of all the holidays of the year, it's probably not controversial to say it's a favorite among many. After all, for a lot of us, the month of October offers us a temporary escape from the mundanity of everyday life to collectively indulge in the fantastical, the strange, and one could even say, the spooky. As someone that grew up in the 2000s, Halloween has a special place for me. For a good amount of my childhood, my parents didn't really let me participate in a lot of Halloween activities. So in an era when television was the dominant form of entertainment, I'd always welcome having entire blocks dedicated to Halloween-themed programs. In particular, my favorite stuff was on Food Network because the holidays gave chefs and bakers the opportunity to express their creative side. And I imagine I'm not the only one who thought some of the best days in school were on or near Halloween, actually making being there somewhat bearable. But as you get older, appreciating the season gets a bit harder. You're maybe more health conscious now and have to cut down on the sweets. Because holiday marketing has geared itself more towards efficiency, you get a Halloween you can't help but feel overstays its welcome, and a Christmas that comes annoyingly early. And with internet media having essentially dethroned TV, you find yourself shouldering the task of seeking out alternatives to the holiday programs you used to enjoy. And perhaps for you, that position is filled by YouTubers. Hi, I'm Gundam, and for today's spooky video, I have a special guest with me. Say hello to the audience, Hone-kun.
Bite me!
Hey, you better watch it or you'll end up back in the closet.
Alright, I got it.
Now that's not the only thing special about this video, because this just so happens to be the Halloween special, or as I'm gonna call it to stay on topic with the content of this channel, the Plamo-Ween Special. And because it is special, I kinda want to make it, special. We're gonna be taking a look at a model kit, but it's not gonna be my typical structured kind of review, especially since I'm kinda short on time from the last one. Instead, what I want this to be is a more just kind of casual look at a kit that I think is really cool, and one that likely might have flown under your radar because it's not technically Gunpla, but it is a Tomino mecha. No, the mecha I want to be talking about is the L-Gaim, from the 1984 anime Heavy Metal L-Gaim, and I thought it'd be fitting considering it has a kind of ghostly look to it.
Really? Or are you just saying that because the kits you were hoping to review for this special didn't get a restock?
Okay, so as we all know, ordering stuff online this past year hasn't been the most pleasant because of the you-know-what. And considering the recent kit shortages in Japan, our wonderful suppliers here have likewise faced difficult circumstances, with stock updates being fewer and farther in between. Still, as my high school drama instructor always said, the show must go on. And after some thought, I came up with a compromise. This is gonna sound dumb, but if you're around my age, you might remember this cheap-looking special that aired on Cartoon Network during Halloween time called Scary Godmother. It's still a fondly remembered classic among my generation, but in the sequel, you have the older brother character essentially try to ruin Halloween by preemptively vandalizing different Halloween activities. When the other kids despair over things not going as planned, the little sister character then steps up to come up with a creative solution. I guess that's kind of the mindset I'm going in with for this review. A part of what I want to do with this format is recapture a bit of that feeling I got from watching October television, and rather than hopelessly dwell on the past, maybe take advantage of how it could carry over what I love into the present. In that respect, I think the 2021 HG L-Gaim embodies that spirit perfectly. It's an old kit, given new life with current-gen technology. With all that out of the way, let's get this Plamo-Ween review going. Now, to preface everything I'm going to say from here, it should be known that I haven't actually watched the Heavy Metal L-Gaim anime yet. Okay, hold on, the point is to show this kit to people who likely aren't all that familiar with it either, so that detail isn't too relevant. Needless to say, I haven't built the original kit from 2007, so I'm going into this without any real connection to the mecha. That said, one of the big things that sold me on it was this absolutely gorgeous box art. This illustration is by mecha artist Hidetaka Tenjin, and they did a bang-up job presenting Mamoru Nagano's original mecha design in a way that really evokes the sci-fi aesthetics of the 80s, the time period the anime aired in. If this was box art for a toy I saw on the shelves as a kid, I'd have probably begged my parents to get it for me. That nostalgia factor just makes for great marketing. The MSRP for this kit is 2,530 yen. This vid isn't sponsored, I just think I should let y'all know that as of now, I've seen heavy metal kits in stock online on most US Gun Plus shops, even at sale price. They're practically begging to be bought. To briefly touch on the build, I had a blast with it. It was surprisingly fast and easy to put together for the most part, with the instructions for the entire HM, or heavy metal because that's what the mechs are called, condensed into just 4 pages. At the same time, the process felt unique from just about any other high grade I've built. While I didn't have much trouble, I wouldn't say I'd recommend this kit to beginners, as there's a few small, delicate parts that make up this kit's quote-unquote inner frame. Some areas require you to just force one part into another, and I won't lie when I say I had to bust out the clamp at one point. There's also these tubes on the leg you have to individually cut, and I got a bit cocky and fudged the measurements slightly. Luckily, you can hide those behind the 2 halves of the leg that don't open. Honestly, this little sprinkle of challenge is what made building this kit so much fun for me, and the end result all the more satisfying. On that note, this kit looks fantastic when it's all finished up. It's an HG, but the overall look and proportions of the HM have been captured so well that it exceeds many of the expectations I've come to associate with the line. The main body consists of just 3 colors, with the most dominant being white, but it's a sort of milky white with a really nice matte finish, giving it a premium quality. You know, you ought to take some hygiene advice from this mecha, Hone-kun.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
To break up all that white, we get a glossy dark navy blue, mostly present on the upper body, and a dull gold for the joints and other parts that make for an excellent complementary color. I'm so glad they went with this because I was almost certain Bandai was gonna go with that ugly gloss injection gold. The design also strikes a great balance between rounder forms and sharper geometric shapes, creating points of interest that carry your attention from top to bottom. For size comparisons, here it is next to some other 1/144 scale kits. As you can see, it's pretty tall. It's not quite as tall as I expected, but I'm by no means disappointed. In fact, I think the size is just right now that I'm looking at it. Not only are the looks impressive, you might be shocked to learn there are 0 stickers in the box. That awesome phantom-like head, all parts separated. Though that's not to say it's entirely color accurate. If you look at the promo images, it's definitely missing some color wraps, but the ones that stand out the most are probably going to be the dull gold on the land booster, the black on the forearm details, and the black for the circles on the ankle armor. Now, if you want my opinion, this doesn't bother me too much. I understand these touches might be difficult to incorporate as separate parts, especially since it's an update of an old kit, and I've actually seen some interpretations where those circles are white anyways. If anything, since the kit's all in polystyrene plastic, painting these areas should be really simple. Still, it would have at least been nice to include stickers for people who don't want to paint. Then for seam lines, you most certainly have them, but none of them are all that offensive. From what I know, Bandai made an effort to modify the original mold so they won't be as visible from the front, and I give them props for that. Mold lines, on the other hand, oh boy, you sure do got those. In a weird way, I do think they are an endearing callback to older model kit production. However, if you don't appreciate them with the same level of eccentric fascination I do, I don't blame you. As for nubs, not too bad. Not just because most of this kit is in white, but most of the plastic here is pleasantly soft, and some of the gates here are so small they pretty much come off on their own. I think the only ones that'll catch your attention are on the darker plastic of the land booster. Otherwise, cleanup in general is really easy. Moving on to the accessories, there are a total of 5 hands, with the exception of 2 extras. I currently have the 2 fists equipped, and we'll look at the others along with the weapons. You'll see why in a moment. Interestingly enough, they all come as one piece, and I kinda dig the way they look like human hands wearing leather gloves. It's just so bizarre to see on a mech. For close range weapons, you get 2 yellow beam saber effects, which are shorter than the typical Gundam beam saber, and they look pretty dope. Unfortunately, you can only equip one, because only the right hand has the saber handle molded in. Yup, you heard that right. The handle and the hand are a single piece, all in that leathery gold. Okay, so it seems like Bandai decided to cut a few corners when it came to re-releasing this kit in 2021. As for these on the arms right here, I thought they were like machine guns, but I watched a video from the anime, And correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like that's where the sabers are stored, which would be neat, but you can't really take them off to emulate the effect of them being equipped. Up next is a weapon I really want to show y'all, the Buster Launcher. Look at this. It's not just molded in one color, but it's separated into 3 different colors. And damn, this thing is huge. I'ma say it, this weapon puts some master grade weapons to shame. Now these cables here, you also cut individually and put these jacks on the end to plug into the HM. I'm leaving them on because I feel like taking them off repeatedly might just loosen them up. So how do we equip this big guy? Oh, for the love of... Equipping this weapon is easily the least fun aspect about it. Not only is the hand loose, but the molded handle attached to the weapon can come loose too. Either before or after that, you'll want to plug the 3 cables into the crotch, and they're not very flexible out of box, so posing with them can be awkward. Then see if you can get it into the supporting hand without anything coming off. While I love this weapon, it's a bit of a pain. On the bright side, it does have a posable bipod, so I'll probably just display it next to the HM. The last of the usable weapons are these 2 power launchers, and as you can see, I have the cable attached to just one of them. You have enough wire for the both, but for right now, I only feel like putting it on the one. These are cool because they can connect onto the back of the forearm, meaning you can pose with them without anything coming loose as long as it's within range of the cable, should you use it. And if you don't want to use the launchers, you can attach them both to the back of this wicked shield called the Solar Binder. I think I have an idea of what it takes its distinct panel design after. Back to the other side, there's these 2 mines that don't have any function, and I'm not sure what these 2 rods are meant to be. I couldn't find info about them in the manual or online, and behind the cannons, they seem pretty inaccessible. Other than that, this can attach to the forearm too. For extras, we have a base adapter compatible with Action Base 5. These alternate hands, which I kept on the runner because they're used to achieve a sort of hand gliding pose with the P-Bandai exclusive L-Gaim Mark II, and I might not get that anytime soon. As for these runners, they're leftover parts from the original 2007 kit, and they're almost identical save for some of the seam placement. You have the old uncolored beam saber, and you even got the old Buster Launcher, which I just had to snap together to compare to the other. It's all in the one color, so I guess Bandai really wanted to step up their game with the new one. And that they most certainly did. Oh, real quick, I forgot to mention these leftover parts here, which look to be like the old, which look to be the old, shoulder connections they used, and they seem to have had a peg instead of the ball joint they're using now, so that's interesting. And I'm not entirely sure what these ones are, but I see these little pegs at the end, so my guess is they might have been for the tubing. There's also some gimmicks on the HM. For instance, the land booster has moving parts, and this panel that powers it can be concealed when not active. Then there's the opening panels on both sides of the legs called random slates to stabilize movement in flight. This is such a sick feature, and it goes to show that even high grades can do some interesting things you often might not see from the line. We've looked through its streets, now let's quickly run through its tricks. Okay, I promise I won't do that anymore. Its articulation is not the best, however there's some stuff that adds a lot to this kit's fun factor. It feels so nice in your hands. You really gotta hold it for yourself because aside from some looseness on the hands, everything holds together extremely well. The head can't get full rotation, but the ball joint offers some great movement, and there's even some articulation on the horns. The torso's got some fantastic range as well. Pop out and rotation for the shoulders. And check this out, a functional moving flap when you raise the arm laterally. Bicep swivel. Only 90 degrees at the arm. Or is it? While still limited, that flex is pretty amazing. The side skirts peg on the leg while the back skirt can move back and forth, and since there's no front skirt, the kick game is strong with this one. Can't say the same for the leg bend, as it can't even do 90, though that swinging joint inside is certainly something different. And finally the feet. In my opinion, these are honestly some of the best designed feet I've seen on a model kit. The 3 toes do wonders for stability. Yeah, the forwards movement could be better, but the posability is just crazy. I'll tell you, if it looks like there's something you could do with the feet, you probably can. In short, despite the articulation lacking in places, It makes up for in personality, and I think that's a statement I can likewise extend to the rest of the kit. As far as I can tell, this kit has made some massive improvements over its predecessor, whereas other areas feel a little dated for current high-grade standards. But I don't have much of a problem with that because it knows exactly what it wants to be. To me, the HG Heavy Metal L-Gaim is sort of like a time capsule that gives us a taste of what was once a lesser-known piece of model kit history, while also modernizing it for an enjoyable building experience worthy of a place next to current era high grades. You have here both past and present meeting to produce a kit with its own distinct charm. It's not perfect, the hands are definitely the weakest component in this package, and you know what? That's okay. You don't always have to build something that ticks all your boxes. Sometimes you just want to treat yourself to something maybe a little different, simply to appreciate the joy of building. This kit gets a very glowing recommendation from me, and if you haven't built one yet, I'm positive there's something in here for you, even if, like me, you're not all that familiar with the series. That's gonna be it for now. I hope you all found this more freeform review helpful or even entertaining. Take it easy, and have a very happy Halloween. Well, Honekun, how was that?
If by some miracle you actually get this video out on time, maybe I'll be impressed.
Hey, if I'm late this year, at least I'll always be on time for next year. Hey all, thanks for watching this first ever Plamo-Ween Special. I know it wasn't anything too extravagant, but given the opportunity, I'd love to do something like this again next year, with better planning of course. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Any thoughts you might have, leave them in the comments below. Let me know if I should do more stuff like this in my regular uploads as well. And if you want to stay up to date with all of my content, hit that subscribe button. All of my links to socials and other stuff will be in the description below. Once again, I appreciate all of you wonderful people tuning in, and I hope to see you all again in the next one. Till then, this is Gundam signing out.